Alright everybody, I am pulled over at the side of the road, found a spot that I want to do a plein air painting to get back in the swing. I have painted this area before, actually around the same time last year, and I kind of want to do it again, but I want to capture it maybe in a different way. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Let's get set up. Man, this place is so quiet, and yet the bugs are so loud. I love it. Like I said, I have painted these trees before, and when I did, I used a more rectangular slash vertical oriented panel to paint them on. So it's a little bit different this time because I have a square panel I'm going to be painting on, so that kind of alters my composition a little bit. So I'm looking at these trees again, but the thing that I want to do differently is there are a lot of bushy, kind of leafy boughs in certain points behind these trees, and last time I focused on that blue sky behind them, but this time I want to fill in that background a little bit more with some of those leafy, shadowed branches back there. So that's going to be the main difference. I also might change the way that these trees look in terms of their shape, but I really like the white and I like the green. Last time I painted them a little bit later in the year, so I had yellow for the leaves, but it's still kind of got a summer quality to it. So I'm going to leave all the foliage green this time. Okay everybody, let's take a look at our palette. First off, we're going to be grabbing some titanium white. Gotta have titanium white. Next up, sky blue, burnt sienna. We'll stick some alizarin crimson on there as well. Yellow ochre. Notice how I'm placing my paints on the outer edge of my palette. That's because I like to use the interior here for mixing colors. I think we might have a little bit of lemon yellow left, so I'm going to see if I can squeeze some of that out. Oh yeah, there's not much left. I'm also going to throw on some of this permanent green here. I don't need much though, because I can mix green from my sky blue and my yellows here. But because I don't have that much lemon yellow on the palette, I'm going to throw some of this permanent green light on because it is a lighter green, and I know that the yellow ochre and the sky blue is going to mix more of a darker green. So I guess it's just convenient to keep this on the palette. And then I am going to throw on some ivory black. And then of course we have our linseed oil in this little vial. We're ready to put the sketch on. Alright, let's get this sketch on really quick. I'm going to get some linseed oil to help the flow of the paint. And we're going to sketch it in with some of this burnt sienna, maybe some of that alizarin crimson. I think I want to have more of a close-up. So we're going to have this tree coming up like this and be a little bit fatter. Focus on the texture of that bark coming up like that. We got the other one. I'm going to make it closer, a lot closer, coming up on the side here. Okay, looks good. And then we'll have that other one coming in back here. They're all pretty much going to be straight. That's the way poplars grow. But it doesn't mean I can't bend them just a little bit. And now I'm going to put on some of these branches Okay, stick some branches on here, some knobs here and there. And I think I do want to have these poplar trees be mostly in shadow, along with the background. But because they're white, they're going to stand out from the darker shadows in the back, even though they are in shadow. And then I want to have this dappled light hitting them across the middle directly, which is going to be that bright white. So we can have a pocket of sky peering through maybe right up in this area. But then I want to have that light hitting right across this area, okay? And then this is probably going to be darker. I think that looks pretty good. Keep it simple. Let's move into the painting. Grab some titanium white, sky blue, that's all we need. A little bit of linseed oil to help the mixture flow. And we're just going to put some of this background sky in. You know what? We might just put a few areas here and there. We can cover them up if we decide we don't need them later on, but there might be a few spots where some of that sky is breaking through. I can also go back and add that over the top later, but that's good for the sky. I think we'll move on to those background leaves now. And I'm going to start by taking yellow ochre and mixing it with sky blue. And we're going to bring that up here and just see how it looks. You know what? I actually kind of like that. I'll stick a bit of this in there. I might actually add a little bit of burnt sienna to it, just to darken it up a little bit and make it a little bit more warm. Grab some of this permanent green light, mix it in, and we're going to add a little bit of a lighter green towards the middle, I think, because we're going to concentrate that sunlight across the middle of the trees, and some of that sunlight might be hitting the background leaves a little bit, or at least kind of a lighter glow. I'm going to add a little bit of ivory black to my leaf mixture. We're going to darken it up even a little bit more. Okay, you guys can see I have put in everything in the background very rough, although I want to continue with this background leaf color and just very generally start to integrate it into the background sky by dabbing a little bit here and there as if those leaves are fading into the background. Now let's put in those trees. Let's mix some of this titanium white with some of this ivory black for now. We'll get a nice gray with that. And I want to mix it into our leftover sky color here actually. And then I want to add some more sky blue, maybe some of our sketch color actually as well. I have some leftover of that, which was that burnt sienna and alizarin crimson. A little more of that ivory black and sky blue. Creates a nice cool gray. And let's come in here and see how it looks. It's a little bit too blue, so I'm going to add some of this burnt sienna into it to neutralize that blue and also make it a little bit of a lower value. Okay, I'm liking that. Plein airs are kind of, at least the way I do them, meant to get you inspired to paint, number one. Also, give you practice. number 2. Number 3, it kind of teaches you how to attack a painting, how to complete one, and it will always give you things to work on when you're finished. You'll learn a lot by doing. And when it comes to painting, that is true. If you go out and do it, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to be getting better every time you go out. Okay. I don't know what to call them. They're lower down on the poplars, and they're a part of its bark, but they're like black, sort of scratchy marks. And so I'm just going to try to suggest those, especially on this one here. Just like this. When you're doing plein airs, you have to move quick, so it's about being efficient with your strokes. And I want to stay loose, but I don't want to spend too much time on one thing. So we're just going to go ahead and plop those in quick. Different areas. Whew, it's getting hot. It was getting so hot over there in the sun that I decided to move the easel here to some shade. I'm a little bit further back, but I get a nice view of the poplars from back here that offers a little bit of a different perspective, which I like. So we're just going to continue painting. At this point, I'm going to take titanium white here, and I'm going to put on the highlighted portions on these poplars where the sun is going to be hitting it directly. So we're going to start off with this, a little bit of a lighter gray, and we're just going to apply that. Now I don't have to blend it too much. I might blend a little bit like that. We're going to put some right up in here. And right up in here. Very simple composition, very simple painting. Now this is not the brightest highlight, of course. That's going to come later. But this is going to be where those bright highlights are going to end up. Oh, that's looking pretty bright, so maybe that's close. I'm not quite sure yet, actually. I think we're going to put some right up in here as well. Maybe like that. Think of it like you have light on the end of your brush, and wherever you touch, that is where the light is hitting. Now I'm going to take some of our ivory black, maybe mix in a little bit of burnt sienna, and I'm going to make those dark branches that jut off. Maybe I want to lighten it up actually, so I'm going to add some gray to it. I don't need to get too descriptive. We're nearing the end. I just want to put on a little bit more detail onto these trees. These trees are the focal point, so I can put some detail onto them. And I'm going to stick on some of these little bark details, just like this. I think this painting is begging to have a branch come up like this. So I'm going to take some of that darker ivory black mixed in with my gray, and I'm going to stick in a branch right up like that. Alright, you know what? I think we're ready to add in the highlights, which are going to end up being pure titanium white when I'm finished. But we'll just start off with a very light gray and see how that looks. We'll kind of build up to those final highlights of titanium white. This is so enjoyable. Doesn't have to be complicated. Alright, let's go even brighter. Now, the way I do my brush strokes is actually going to build the shape of the tree, so keep that in mind when you're putting these highlights on. Let's go pure titanium white right in the middle and see what that does. Pure titanium white. Oh yeah, that gets the idea across. Now what I think this painting is aching for to finish it up is some bright leaf highlights. So remember that lemon yellow we haven't touched yet? I'm going to grab some of that, and to start I'll add just a little bit of that permanent green light into it, and we're going to come towards the bottom here, and I do notice looking up there is a spot right by this trunk at the base where there are some bright leaves catching that same light that's just popping through. You don't have to go crazy with it. In fact, I do want to put some in front of that trunk. It just adds some nice dimension to the painting, I think. I'm applying the paint with impasto marks, which means I have a lot of paint and I'm dabbing it off. So there's actually standing paint creating ridges on top of the panel here. I think that's pretty good. Do I need more? I might want to stick another one actually right up in here. Let's stick one right over there. I can always add more, can always take them out, but I'll just kind of look at that for a while and see how it sits with me. Sometimes you need to do that. I'm going to clean my brush. If you look down here, you can see I got my rag. I'm just going to clean it off so I can get pure titanium white, and then we're going to come back up here, grab some of this pure titanium white, and I'm going to make sure that these are very light. I think I might actually want to try and close up the sky back here. I feel like it might help the trees stand out a little bit better if I have less sky. So we're just going to take some of this out. How would it look if it was all gone? Well, I don't like to do this, but I think it needs to be done. So I'm just going to get all that sky out of there. Sometimes you have to try things out, see if it'll work. Alright guys, I'm already liking that better. So we're going to just put that branch back in. Just like that. Gonna maybe lighten up this tree against that darker background. I might even add a branch coming up like that. Alright, I do think I want to add a little bit more highlight to these background leaves right in here by way of adding some yellow ochre into them. I think that'll help bring interest and also draw your eye in towards the light. Okay, you know what? I think we're gonna call it done. I like it. I like the lighting. The lighting is kind of what I wanted to focus on, and the shadows and the highlights were very fun to paint, and doing it like this really helped me kind of figure out in my own mind how to do it. Also, I suspect people watching me also will kind of get a feel for how to get those highlights to pop. A lot of it has to do with making sure everything else is at the right value. For instance, these highlights are showing up the way they are because the background is the way it is. You have those darks in the background, and then it really helps the highlights stand out all the more. You know, I could plan out a larger painting based off of this one. I really like the composition. I've painted it twice, a little bit different both times, but I really like the idea of painting this dappled light on poplar trees. Thank you guys so much for watching this plein air painting. That's going to do it for this video. Hope you liked it. If you did, remember to leave me a thumbs up. Also, quick note, I painted the entire painting, including the sketch, with this one brush, which is a number 4, I think it's like a hog hair bristle brush or something like that. But yeah, entire painting painted with this one brush. Thank you again so much for watching. We'll catch you guys in the next video. And until then, God bless y'all. We'll see you later.